Hi dear children, a wonderful day. Hope you're all fine. Okay, the other day we were discussing about the second unit, the first lesson, that was Sound of Music. It has two parts, as you all know. The first part was Evelyn Glennie listens to music without hearing it, and the second part was the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. Hope you remember both those classes. And there is a poem in the lesson, second unit, that is The Wind, written by Subramanya Bharati, and I'm going to say that poem. This is a monologue actually. The poet is speaking to wind, and here you all know what is wind. It's a natural phenomenon. But the poet says that wind is really powerful and the power is destructive. Is that right? To some extent we also will feel that wind is destructive, right? So the poet is strongly feeling that the power of wind is destructive, and he connects or links it to the adversities of our life, the problems which we are facing in our life. The poet admits that those weak people, those who are weak with their physical part and their mental part, when they are facing such adversities, they will fail to overcome it and will break down. That's what the poet says. But at the same time, he agrees that those who are very strong in their mind and their body, they'll survive. That's what the poet says in this poem, and we're going to read the poem. Let me read the first part of the poem.
Wind. The wind blows strongly and causes a lot of destruction. How can we make friends with it? Wind comes softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. You're very clever at poking fun at weaklings.
Here the poet is talking to the wind and says that the wind is coming too powerful when it is coming into home. So the poet asks the wind to come softly. And the poet is saying that wherever you're going, you're making a lot of distractions. What all distractions the poet is mentioning here? The poet asks the wind not to break the shutters of the window. That's first distraction, right? The poet is telling that the wind, when it blows very strongly, it breaks the shutters of the window. So the wind must come slowly into the house, that it will not break the shutters of window. And then poet says that whenever it comes into the house, automatically the papers will be scattered here and there. That's very true. When we are doing an assignment, when we are preparing a note, and when we are doing all those works with using papers or notebooks, what will happen? When wind enters, automatically the papers will get scattered all over the room. And at the same time, when we are writing something in our notebook, the pages will be turned without our control. So those problems are happening because of wind. So poet is requesting wind to come softly and to stop doing all these naughty things. It's really naughty, like a small child. The poet really enjoys it, but at the same time, he never wants to make people distracted or disturbed by this power. So poet is requesting wind to come softly and to make people enjoy with it. Now the poet says that, look at the shelf and all the papers which I kept there. It is all scattered all over the room, which means you made everything scattered in the room. I made it very clearly on the shelf, but nothing is there on the shelf now. Everything is scattered in the room. And one more thing is there. Those pages of the books, they are being torn. The powerful wind made the pages torn and get it scattered into the different parts of the room. Can you imagine that? It's not at all nice, no? Whatever is it, the power of wind is being used wrongly now. That's what the poet feels now. And then poet says one more thing. You bring the rain again. You are coming, it's fine. But why you are bringing rain also? When you comes along with rain, what will happen? When you comes with rain, it is really problematic again. Wind and rain. It's really dangerous again, no? Dangerous than the wind alone or dangerous than the rain alone. It's more dangerous. And the poet says that these all problems are happening because you are coming with that power with you. So you must come softly. Make yourself as a breeze and come gently, that we will also feel like hugging you. Poet is requesting the wind to come very softly into the house, that people will feel very happy about the wind. And then poet says, you are too clever, you are too intelligent. In what? In disturbing the weak people. You are very intelligent in disturbing or distracting the weak people. Now here onwards we can say that the power of wind we can say as the adversities which we are facing in our life. Every day we are facing some or the other problems in our life. For the present time it is COVID-19. It's really affecting our life that we are not even able to go to our workplace, not even able to go to our schools, not even able to enjoy with our friends. All those days we are missing really. Those adversities are also known for the power of wind here. So the poet says that those poor people will be distracted by those adversities which they are facing in their life. Hope you got the part of the poem clearly. I'm going to read the next part. Listen.
Frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts.
Here in these lines, this word is being repeated several times to show that all those weak things are being distracted by wind. What all things are being distracted by wind? The weak houses, the weak doors, the weak windows, and whatever was not strong, it was all being destroyed. That's what the poet says, and he says it once more that whatever you are doing now, it's not at all nice. And we can compare it with the adversities which we are facing in our life. Whatever difficulties we are facing, most of us will think about a good day which is going to come in the coming days, in the future. But at the same time, some people, they'll feel that this is the end of our life and they'll finish it themselves. They may commit suicide, or they may go for some mental stress or other problems, depression, so that they will fail to survive such situations, adversities. But I'm very sure you will be able to survive such adversities because you are very strong in your physical part and your mental part. Be strong physically and mentally. That's what the poet says throughout the poem also. We'll continue the poem.
The wind god winnows and crushes them all. We don't do what you tell him, so come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body, make the heart steadfast.
Here in the continuation of the poem, the poet is telling that to solve all these problems, to face the power of the wind, we have to make strong houses. We have to make very firmly closed windows and doors. That's what the poet says, and he asks us to join together and make strong houses and make firmly closed doors and windows. And then he says, when we are doing all these things like this, the wind will be friendly with us. And when we are making strong houses and when we are making firmly closed windows and doors, along with that we have to do one more thing. What is that? To make our body and mind strong enough to face all the adversities which we are going to face in our life. Which means we must be strong in our mind and we must be strong in our physical part also. The poet wants us to be strong to face all the adversities and to be successful in our life. That's what the poet says here. And then we'll continue.
Do this, and the wind will be friends with us. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day.
And then poet says here that when we are doing all these things, then the wind will be friendly with us. Sometimes the wind will be blowing very slowly, very smooth, but at the same time, some other time it will be blowing very fast, very rough, like roaring. So all these situations, we will be able to face it. We will be able to face the wind in our own way because we are strong. Once when we are having strong house, once when we are having firmly closed windows and doors, we will be strong enough to face that power of the wind. The same way, once when we are strong in our mind and our body, we'll be able to face all the adversities which are coming in our life. That's what the poet says. And once when we are ready to do all these things, then the wind is very friendly with us. It will be coming to us and it will be facing us in a friendly mood. And all the adversities, the poet continues here, all the adversities which we are facing also will be making us more and more strong only. That's what the poet says. And he asks us to be strong in our physical part and mental part, and to face all the adversities and to succeed in our life. Hope you are clear about the lesson.
Now let's have a look at the exercise part. The first exercise is thinking about the poem. The first question is, what are the things the wind does in the first stanza? In the first stanza, the wind breaks the shutters of the windows, it scatters the papers, throws down the books on the shelf, and it brought rain again, and more than that, it makes the poor people by distracting them. That's all about the first question. Now let's see the second question here. Have you seen anybody winnow grain at home or in a paddy field? What is the word in your language for winnowing? What do people use for winnowing? This one you have to do as a homework, because you have to do it in what the people are telling for winnowing in your local area. That's a homework for you. Here the second part is question answer part. The first question, what does the poet say the wind god winnows? The wind god is winnowing the weak people and the strong people and separating them. What should we do to make friends with the wind? First of all, we have to make strong houses and strong, firmly closed windows and doors, and then to make ourselves strong physically and mentally. Then windows and wind will be friends with us. The fifth question is, what do the last 4 lines of the poem mean to you? The last 4 lines of the poem, here in these lines, the last 4 lines, it says about whether the wind is weak or whether the wind is strong, whether it blows very strong or whether it blows very weak. If we are strong with our physical part and with our mental part, and at the same time, if we are very strong with our strong houses, we will be able to face it and make friends with it. And in other words, we can say that whatever problems, adversities are coming in our life, if we are strong physically and mentally, we will be able to face those problems and to survive in our life. And the sixth question, how does the poet speak to the wind? In anger or with humor? You must also have seen or heard of the wind crumbling lives. What is your response to this? Is this like the poets? Okay, here this is asking about your opinion about all these points and all. So it's your responsibility to write this, make it as a homework, and make sure that you're completing this question from your own words and from your own viewpoints. And the second part here, the question is, the poem you have just read is originally in Tamil. Do you know any such poems in your language? This is for you to remember those poems which were translated from your mother tongue to some other languages. Hope you will be able to find out at least 2 poems. So this is an exercise, an activity for you. Find out 2 poems which were there in your mother tongue, which were being translated into some other languages like English or something like that.
Now we are going to start the third unit, and the lesson is The Little Girl. And here, before starting the lesson, I have a question. Do you love your father? Do you feel that your father loves you? Did you ever feel that your father is too angry or arrogant with you? Okay, here this story is also there where there was a little girl who was finding always his father scary. She always feared her father. And in a sudden, when something happens, she changes her feelings and understands his struggles in the daily life and finds sympathy towards him. Let's see how it happens, and we'll begin the lesson today and we'll continue the next day. Okay? And I'm going to read the first paragraph. Listen to me now.
The little girl. Before you read, do you feel you know your parents better now than when you were much younger? Perhaps you now understand the reasons for some of their actions that used to upset you earlier. The story about a little girl whose feelings for her father changed from fear to understanding will probably find an echo in every home. Paragraph number 1. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. Every morning before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss, to which she responded with, "Goodbye, father," and, oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. In the evening, when she came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. "Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if the paper's out there, and bring me my slippers." Here in this paragraph, only one new word is being mentioned, and the new word is figure to be feared. A person to be feared is the meaning here.
The first paragraph begins with the little girl's feeling towards her father. It says that father was always a fearful figure to her. She was not at all feeling any love or care to him, but only fear. And every day morning before he was going to his work, to his office, after changing his dress, he used to go to her room and to give a kiss to say goodbye. And for that kiss, she'll give a reply and say a goodbye to him. And she'll wait till the sound of the vehicle moves out to the road, and then she'll take a long sigh of relaxation. Why? She was having that much of fear towards her father. And once when he is left, she was all right. She was very happy at the home. And once when he back, he will be having a lot of shouts. He'll be asking for the newspaper, he'll be asking for the tea, and he'll be asking mother to bring the newspaper to him, and all those things. I'm going to read the second paragraph. Listen.
Paragraph number 2. Kezia, mother would call to her, "If you are a good girl, you can come down and take her father's boots." Slowly the little girl would slip down the stairs, more slowly still across the hall, and push open the drawing room door. By that time he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. "Well, Kezia, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today?" Don't know, father." "You don't know? If you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor."
Here the little character is being introduced with her name. The name is Kezia. And here in this paragraph it says that when he sat on the sofa comfortably, little Kezia's mother will call, "Kezia, please come and help your father remove his boots." And little Kezia would come down the stairs, and in the beginning she will be a little bit fast, but when she comes down she'll be slower and again slower, because she's really afraid about her father. So she'll be coming slower and slower towards her father, and by the time when she reach her father, he might be ready with his spectacles and will be having a look through the spectacles, which was really horrible for the little child. She used to get afraid in that look, And then he would say to remove his boots and to keep them outside the house. Then in a sudden another question will come from the father to the little girl. He would ask whether she was a good girl for the day. He would ask that question to the little girl. And she would be really scared that she will not be able to say the answer there. She'll start stuttering like anything and she'd not be able to answer the question properly. She would say, I don't know, father, in a trembling voice with breaks in between. And that would make the father really angry that he would ask whether you have stutters, and if you have such problems, we have to go and consult a doctor. I'll ask your mother to take you to a doctor and make your problems proper. Was she really having such problem? Speaking problem? No, she was not having anything. But at the same time, this problem happened only because she was really scared. That's all about the lesson today. Hope you understood this part of the lesson. And we'll continue the lesson next day. Thank you. Have a nice day.